Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Prelude to Positivity. My name is Tommy Geraci, and my guest today is very special, and she got all dressed up for me. It is Miz Diagnosis, also known as Dobbs DeCorsey. He is a drag queen, a mental health advocate, a poet, a writer, an actor, and an artist. And my guest today. Hello, Miz Diagnosis. How are you?
Hello, Tommy. I'm great. It's Monday. We had sunshine, which is
Yay.
really really lovely here in Minnesota. But yeah, it's been a great day. I had a big lunch. I didn't make it myself, so that was even better. So yeah, it's been a great Monday. How's your day been?
It's been good. It rained here, though, for 2 days in a row, which is a drag, but the bad kind of drag, not the good kind of drag.
Yeah.
So I would like you to tell people who don't know about you yet, tell us a little bit about Dobbs first, and then how that came to be Miz Diagnosis, and then all about Miz Diagnosis.
Yeah. So Dobbs was born and raised in the state of Minnesota, where he continues to reside because, lifers in Minnesota are pretty frequently occurring. But yeah, he grew up in the suburbs and moved around quite a bit because the Bush administration didn't love funding public education, and both his parents are in public education. So yeah, he's had a lot of very life experiences, and it's weird to talk about myself in the third person. So yeah, he's having a good time. He currently works at the University of Minnesota, and his title is the Executive Office and Administrative Specialist for 511 Brunings Hall, which is within the College of Liberal Arts, and it's the pre-health students. So he helps oversee just the pre-health advisors, and then working with like pre-health advising student staff. So that's kind of his life. He has a degree. He was a competitive public speaker throughout high school and college, where he really found a love for like writing, poetry. But yeah, Dobbs has been an activist nearly his entire life. He's always been really involved with like political campaigns ever since he was very, very little. He came out of the closet at the age of 3.
Oh my gosh.
Which is in like the gayest way. It was he was 3 years old, and it was Christmas. And for Christmas, he asked for a purple plastic purse with red feathers. And his parents said, yep, gay. That's good enough for us. And so he had, a really cool set of parents, and his sister is his best friend. And I think he had it pretty nice for the circumstances and the world. But Dobbs, not that like the whole world like peachy keen great, but he Dobbs lives with bipolar type 1, which is a fun time sometimes, but it's just something that you manage. It's something that you live with, and it's something that you work through every day, which is, it can be kind of like a new surprise when you wake up in the morning, like, oh, how am I feeling? Where am I on the roller coaster today? But he's had a really awesome support system, and he graduated in 2019 from the university that he currently works at, and he didn't have a lot of friends that stayed around in the state. They all kind of like moved to the corners of the planet, and then he was like, I need more gay friends, so he created me. So yeah, I was born in a poorly teased wig and a little black and gold shift dress. And yeah, that's Dobbs made me to make friends, and so that's my life.
My goodness. So. And I see you borrowed Amy Poehler's little thing that she had between her breasts last night at your classes.
Yeah. I pulled it apart and just kind of like I looped it. So it still smells like it. I can like I know what she had for supper last night. It's definitely patchouli. So
I noticed also that on your IG, Miz Diagnosis, and then you have she, her.
Yes.
For that, and then on your Clubhouse, it's both names, and then it's he, him. So is that basically on purpose because your IG is kind of your stage account, or do you actually identify as all of those?
Yeah, so Instagram is definitely stage account. So she, her it's been really awesome in the Minneapolis drag scene. There's been like such a push to make sure that your drag pronouns are correct. Like even in like novice shows, the show directors all ask, what are your drag pronouns? I want to get this correct for you. And so that's been really great. And so that's something that I've always really advocated for. But then as like a more like professional outside of like my queer realm, I use he, him, his just as Dobbs. And so that's in Clubhouse is like in that weird in between of like friendship, networking, professional. So yes, I thought let's get these in there.
And you mentioned Bipolar 1. So you're open about your mental health issues, which is great because in the LGBTQ community, it's very prevalent that mental health issues are there. So do you want to speak on that a little bit about the LGBTQ population and mental health?
Yeah, totally. For the experience that I have had within the family and within speaking around mental health, the phrase that I keep hearing like over and over and over again is swept under the rug. We know that so many family members have faced like certain traumas, and we face like a generational trauma from losing an entire generation of people. And even though you may not have known them, there's still so many connections that can be felt, and so much feeling and energy that you can feel. And I feel as though we don't discuss our mental health and mental wellness, and it really doesn't help when like your whole entire gay culture has been relegated to like a gay bar. That's typically where we find our safe spaces. And we know how alcohol can really interact with a lot of like our mental health, and how it interacts just with like medication. Even if you are on something, it can completely change like your queer experience. I know I have friends who I was no longer am I on a certain medication, but at the time I couldn't drink. And so when I would try to go out with my queer friends, they'd always be like, oh, tequila, lemon drops, da 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 da. And I'm like, I'll take a water. Yeah. And so that was a weird point. And luckily that medication didn't work to a certain extent, and so it's a weird realm. And so the name Miz Diagnosis is very, very intentional. I wanted, I needed more queer friends, so I started performing. But B, I really wanted a name that could start conversations around queer mental health and mental wellness. And that's been a huge part of my activism, is to make sure that people are getting the resources that they need, especially in the queer community, where we have been so forced to like we've been I'm trying to think the best words. The queer community has never been a huge fan of the doctor's office because of how it's treated the queer community. It's you go in and there's always a chance of like, if you are a trans sibling, they may misgender you, they may ask weird questions about your sexual health, they may assume you have HIV, they may all of these things that are in this like assumption box that they put on you that you really don't want to go. I know a lot of queer people that I've talked to in the realm of mental health. We all have this thing called like white coat syndrome, or like white jacket syndrome, where I know I have it. When I go into a doctor's office, as soon as the doctor comes in, my heart rate just starts going like really, really, really fast. And so I've had doctors question me because like my blood pressure is like fine, it's low, it's good, but then my heart rate's like 100 beats per minute. And so I had a doctor in college who she said, the next time that you go, just say, hey, I get anxious when I see a white coat, and then just have the doctor take your or the nurse take your heartbeat again after like 5 minutes of sitting. Anyone will be willing to do it. So yeah.
And then also for a while, being LGBTQ or being queer was considered a mental illness.
Oh yeah, and
so that makes it worse.
Oh, truly. And it's there. I'm trying to remember when it was like fully redacted, especially for trans folks. It wasn't redacted, just like the idea of like having your gender be incorrect, or I don't remember the exact term, but that terminology didn't leave like the diagnostic manual until maybe like 10 years ago. if even more recently.
Mhm. And I
It's
also remember for drag queens, it was even worse because you were getting dressed up so people could see. Like if a gay man walked into a bar, unless he was exhibiting some type of behavior that people would pick up on, he probably could just get in and out of the situation. But with drag queens, they would get dressed up. And before RuPaul, it wasn't really as accepted as it is now. Because I remember drag queen friends of mine were having a rough time with in life and in mental health issues and things like that that were exacerbated by how they were being treated. So when you became Miss Diagnosis, it was a little after this because RuPaul already existed. So you
yeah.
didn't. But did you see that when you were younger that some people in drag were kind of not accepted as much?
Yeah, and I think drag is more accepted to an extent now. I see a lot of people who our mental health is still affected as drag performers because gay men refuse to date us.
Yep.
It's a weird, or not all gay men, but like there's like a decent chunk of them who you go on a date and it like casually comes up that you are a drag performer or if it's your full-time gig. It's such a weird space to be in because you think, oh, queer, accepted, whatever, but because of so many different cultural things that we haven't worked on as a community for such a long time, people still harbor these ideas, and I know it's better, but it's still like a little off-putting. It really is. It's pretty jarring when like I had been on, I think, like 5 dates with a guy, and I was like, oh, this is going well, it's great, whatever. And then he asked me if I tucked, and I said no, and he's like, oh, thank God. And I said,
Why?
what is it? I don't understand this point of view, but okay. And then I didn't hear from him again. And so it's this weird space of you like seeing the drag queens, but it's not even that you like to see the drag queens who are local. There's so many gay men who are like, oh, I'm a big fan of drag, when they're a big fan of drag race.
Right, right.
But they never go to like a local show. They don't tip a queen, but if they do see one in a bar, they'll be like, you're tucking it off, or your pads are too square. And it, did I ask you? Or, well, so I'm really tall, so it's like, did I ask you?
The other misconception is that people who do drag are also trans, which is
Yes.
not the case. But it could be the case, but it's not the case in most cases.
Oh yeah, and I know there's still a lot of people who use trans and drag
Mhm.
interchangeably, which that needs to stop. That
Oh my
because
God.
yeah, I never want to take away from the trans experience or make people believe, oh, your transness is like it's a performance and not a feeling,
Right,
when
right.
we oftentimes forget that gender is both a feeling and an expression.
Yeah.
And so it's what you feel on the inside versus what you're expressing on the outside. And so it's such gender is so weird, and the fact that people try to root it in our biology makes me pretty anxious, and all of these other things that we don't really talk about, and how again that affects our mental health. And
When Caitlyn Jenner came out, I had people asking me at the job I was doing at the time if I was considering the same thing, and I was like, "Why?" And they said, "Well, you're gay," and I said, "But doesn't mean that I identify as that. Like, you have to understand it." And I had to explain this whole identity thing, and they didn't get it. They never got it. Just like they would never get when I would say sometimes drag queens are straight men, because I've known a couple of straight men that do drag, but
oh yeah,
no, it can't be. Or yeah, it can be. It totally can be.
yeah, and it doesn't help that like RuPaul has kind of pigeonholed who's allowed on his show. Uh, so people they're like, oh, you have to be super femme. What's a drag king? You can be like an AFAB woman and be a queen. Like there's so much more to like the complexities of the art form that will never be, or at least I don't think any time soon will be discussed on that show. And that show really is kind of like the tipping point, or like the kickoff point for a lot of people in their knowledge of drag, which I think is great. And I think it's been really helpful for the community. But also I know a lot of people who argue that drag race has been a detriment to local drag. It's kind of killed local
Yeah.
scenes in a way, which but
I see that a lot too. And also I feel like it needs to stay on this It needs to keep its toe in the water of normalcy too. So it can't go too far over that line because then people won't watch it. So you have to keep it mainstream.
Yeah. And I think that now, I think one more round of Emmys, and then they'll be able to, like, I think branch off a little bit more, just because I feel like after maybe like what set of Emmys will this be now, like 6?
Yes.
6 times winning in a row. I think then there's a moment where you have to think, oh, okay, we have a little leeway to experiment a little bit, you know?
Yeah, we're carrying some weight with us now, so we can do what we want.
Yeah.
Which I would love to see him do that because
Mhm.
I just think it would be the greatest thing. But what actually makes a good drag queen, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think a good drag queen is one who can put on a show. I think it's someone who has the hindsight in the brain to build the world that they want to see within a performance, and then make that performance actualize. I think a drag queen is someone who knows the stage and the platform that they have, and something that I feel really separates like the good ones from the great ones are people who know how to use that platform both as a space to entertain, but also as like a space to educate and to advocate and really use it as an empowerment and an embetterment tool. Because I'm a big believer that the title of like king, queen, or just royalty in general is it's a status symbol. It is, no matter how you say it, it is going to be a sense of status and a sense of leadership and responsibility. And so like as a queen, I feel responsible to make sure that my voice is assisting the others in the community, because I've chosen this leadership position that I want to be able to use my platform for empowering and just speaking up on topics. Because drag queens and kings and performers in between, you're on a stage, like very literally. I mean, that stage might be a chair in the middle of a bar, but like it's still a stage.
Sometimes in the back of the bar.
Yep. You get like they bring out like a little like improv black box, stand it on and say, hey, here's a spotlight. And it's just one like the roving from the gay bar.
It happens. It happens. I mean, I don't think so as much now, but I've seen it. I've definitely seen it. So with all of this, especially in the past year that we've had, how do you stay positive when times aren't so positive and things are getting to you? Or how do you bring yourself back to positive?
I am a huge listener of music. I really use music as a tool to center me, to ground me, and to uplift me. And I definitely have songs and playlists where I know this will get me in a certain mood. This is a playlist that'll help me relax. This is a playlist that I will definitely cry to if I need a big cathartic sob. I all my life I've grown up playing instruments. I did musical theater for a very long time. I'm a cellist by classes and not by trade. I mean, like I played gigs for pay, whatever. But I'm such a huge fan of music, and that is something that I really look to bring into. That's a huge part of drag for me, is the lip syncing portion. I love being creative with music and realizing what like certain tracks can do to an audience, what tracks people will vibe with, what kind of reaction will I get. And so I love being able to use music as just like a way to help me get in the spirit without like potentially getting somebody else down, or without potentially changing somebody's day. Or yeah, I feel as though for me personally, I have people that I can lean on, but then I definitely have those moments where I'm thinking I want that self-sufficiency, I want that self-efficiency, and I need to find a way that isn't always being around people, which I am a super duper extroverted person. I get all my energy from other people typically. And so I don't have my in-person support network that I had pre-COVID. And so during these wild times, music is what has forced me to be more self-sufficient in terms of that self-care piece, and making sure that I'll be okay for another day so I can be there for other people. And like I know people are Zoom call away. Like my network is amazing. My friends and family are incredible. But there's there's times when it's like, okay, I need this now, and music is on my phone and it's available now. And so yeah, that's what I've been doing. And drag, I mean, also really gets me in a good mood. It puts me in a good place. Every Tuesday I host a virtual green room, which is really fun, and it's just a space where a bunch of like queer people come together. We put on makeup, we just talk about topics, and it builds that sense of community again that I know a lot of us are missing, because we can't kiki with our siblings in like a shoebox without being close, you know?
Have you done any performances via like Zoom or Instagram Live, things like that?
Yeah, I've done, oh, I'm trying to remember. I've done some shows with Drag Out the Vote, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization where we got queer people out to vote via the power of drag performers. a really cool initiative. I've done. I'm a part of the Brita Filters Unfiltered parties.
Nice.
Brita Filters Unfiltered party. Yeah. And so I stage managed for that. And now more recently, I've had the opportunity to perform at some of those gigs. I've done Instagram lives where I've just done song after song after song after song, just if I need to like move and to be really exhausted. I've done a bit of like drag fishbowl where anyone can pick a song. If you tip me $2, I will I will do whatever song, no matter how little of the lyrics that I know. I will do it for you.
And that's also an important part of being the drag queen, right? To know how to do the lip sync even if you don't know the lyrics.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And I am definitely somebody who I will not do a song unless I know every single word, because I'm not like the most like dancey, like knuckin' buckin' splits, kicks, whatever. I try to find the song and like juice the lyrics and be able to put that into movement, but not necessarily go into a full dip and have a room of people scream, you know.
And other than doing the lives, how are you using your social media to achieve the goals that you have, whether when it comes to your career and when it comes to being an advocate for mental health and all the things that you do?
Yeah, I've been using my platform, I think, in a really effective way. I honestly don't have the biggest audience, but I've used social media as a way to cultivate a family and to cultivate a community of people that I know and who I know me, at least to a certain extent. And really, I've used it as a way to bring people together to help our mental health and mental wellness, because I know so many people have talked about just feeling so alone, feeling so isolated. And if there's some way that I can do that with a social media post, or if I go on Instagram Live and I say, tell me about your day, come on live with me, then I feel like I'm doing something effective. And I'm constantly trying to post resources for people. I follow a lot of like anti-racism accounts that give a lot of resources for people, and I try to disseminate those. A lot of mental health resources again. I had done a video, an Instagram live on election evening, where we just discussed like how family stress along with electoral stress along with queer stress can really make you want to pull all of your hair out and attempt to grow some new hair at the same time. And so I had done a live where I had spoken to a mental health professional. They gave me a bunch of resources, and then we just went on live, and I had my whole big list of things. What can you do to keep yourself well? And yeah, in this past summer, so I'm from Minneapolis, which is where George Floyd's murder occurred. And I know that there, within like the activist community, there are a lot of people who are passing away at a really young age from heart conditions that they didn't have before their like activism began. And so I had worked with this past summer, I have a friend who, she was on a different collegiate speech team. She had given me a bunch of resources, and I have a friend who's a member of the new Black Panther Party, and I had created this thing called the Rejuvenation Project, which it's just like a big living, breathing Google Doc that people can go on and find resources to work on like different levels of wellness and find a way to rejuvenate yourself to continue to fight the good fight. And so if anybody feels as though that they need the resource, it's out there, it's available, and it's constantly changing. It's in the Linktree on my Instagram. If you feel like you need it, go take it. There's even just some like funny links to like make you smile. I have a video of surprise pandas, which always makes me happy. I love pandas so much. Oh my god, they're so cute. Oh,
sometimes cute animals just make people's day, and if you can make somebody's day, you've done it.
Yeah. And yeah, provide people what they need. Like, if I'm a big believer that we all like take up space, but then we all have the capacity within ourselves to like, we all have space within ourselves that then we can also use to help other people take up more space themselves. I don't think it's like this finite capacity out in the world of how much space is available, because we all have it. We all have the capacity inside ourselves, and if I have the capacity to take up space to say, hey, this is going to be a space for mental health and mental wellness, come join on this platform with me, come take up my collective space, and then get people what they need. And just because the world doesn't suck for anyone, or hasn't been really weird or bizarre for anyone. I know everyone's experience has been incredibly unique and very unique. I think unique is the best way to
that's a polite thing.
Like very, very leveled in people's experiences and traumas that they've faced during this pandemic Lovato. But I think that no matter who the person is, if I have the capacity that day, I'm going to help uplift a voice and like help make a person feel better, more safe, more at home. I'm a big believer in my DMs are always open, not just like for like, like a nude, which like whatever.
I don't have that too, but never turn one down. But they're open.
But like, even if you just have like a question, or if you're having a concern, or if you're having like a real trash garbage day, I love talking, as evident as what I'm doing right now. I love talking, I love engaging, I love listening, and just really trying to cultivate something better than kind of the dumpster fire that we're in right now.
So where can people find you online? Where's the best place to find you if they want to send you the nudes? I mean, the questions.
I mean, it can all go in the same inbox. We'll say that.
Where's the best place? Instagram for now, or Instagram, Twitter?
Yeah, I have a Twitter. It's not. I'm not very active on it. It exists to exist. But no, definitely DM me on Instagram. That's definitely the inbox and what I'm most active on, because visual artist, drag, visual, etc. And so I'm at Miz, M-I-Z _ diagnosis, diagnosis. But yeah, it's always open. I have a Facebook page, which is also Miz Diagnosis. But Facebook is a little weird. Wait, say that again.
You're on Clubhouse now too.
Yes. Oh, I am on Clubhouse. Yes, come join us on Clubhouse, which is also at Miz _ diagnosis. I tried to be like level branding everywhere, and so it's all the same. Now my Twitter was different before, but then I said to myself, let's change that, because it doesn't make sense.
And so, the Facebook page is you're active on there too, or you just put pictures up there usually?
Yeah, I just put pictures for the most part, or I'll occasionally write a little something or other, but yeah.
Cool. And then with all the things that you do and all the interests that you have, what are you most passionate about?
What am I most passionate about? I am very passionate about kindness. At the end of the day, everything that I do, the interactions that I have, the advocacy and the action that I do, the allyship, the turncoatship, is all rooted in kindness. And I'm a big believer in an open door policy. That's something that my parents really instilled in me at a young age. Like, our front door literally was never locked growing up. And so if you needed something, you can walk right in. Wasn't that great clips? Walk right in, sit right down, baby, let your hair hang down.
I think so.
I think that was the
And then on Fuller House, they used to always say, "The door's open, door's always open," right? Something like that.
yes.
They never lock that damn door. And in this day and age, they never lock that damn door.
No, no. And so yeah, I'm a big believer in welcoming people, and I will always speak to a person from a place of kindness, even if it's something that's disrespectful. I will do my best to not leave my kindness behind me or at the door. And yeah, I think it's really important to be a kind person. I'm not a nice person. I will say that. I do not put up with any pleasantries or niceties. That is not it. If you are if you're using some veiled racism, I'm gonna call you out on it. So no bullshit. Don't bullshit me. I know it. I can read a room pretty well, as like a drag performer, you gotta figure out, oh, is she gonna throw up on me, or like, does she need help? But yeah, I'm not gonna put up with any of that, and yeah, just kindness, and yeah, that's where all my work and everything stems from. I mean, maybe not like some of my like stupider numbers that I do, those might not be from kindness, but they're trying to get you to laugh. I'm passionate about comedy. I love comedy. I love laughter. I love being stupid sometimes, but looking really pretty while doing it.
That's the important part. As long as you look good, you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, just through this today.
If you were going to write a book about your life, what would you call this particular chapter?
This particular chapter, I would call it, how long are we saying, like from what time period to what time period?
That's up to you. Whatever this period would be for you.
Okay. I think for this period, I'd call it change of seasons. We'll say that. Yeah. I feel like, thank you. I see myself in a very like transitional stage of life, and I think it's Vivaldi. It's the change of seasons. Yeah.
And what is the most fulfilling part about what you do?
The most fulfilling part is knowing that I have an opportunity to build community, because I again started doing drag to make friends, to be a part of a community. Now that I've established myself a bit, people know who I am, I now have the opportunity to create community around me and help other people who may be seeking friendship, people who may be seeking mentorship. All of these really awesome opportunities that I think drag and the people that you cultivate around you in this realm, what they can do and what they can do for other people. So yeah, I'm glad to be like a community center or like a water tower. I'm kind of like built like a water tower, where it's just like like a manicotti noodle with like a big head at the top, so yeah, I'm a water tower. Everyone
be a water tower. Everybody be a water tower. If you make somebody smile, be a water tower. That's
yeah. I love water towers that have smiley faces painted on them. Those really are some of my favorite, because sometimes they're just so faded, and somebody's like, I don't have the energy to change this today. But hopefully there's no dead bodies floating in me. That I've read too many a horror novel, seen too many a movie where it's like, the bodies in the water tower.
I don't know why they always put it in the water tower. So you have to climb up there. It's a lot of work to get it up there. I don't get it.
I don't, unless you are like Spider-Man or like the Incredible Hulk and you can just kind of like jump up there. That's effort. That's like way too much effort.
So you mentioned the pandemic lovato, which is the word that we've adopted for the pandemic, but at the encouragement of our friend Noelle. Hi, Noelle. we don't like to say pandemic because it's depressing. But what did you learn about yourself during the pandemic lovato?
Yeah, during the pandemic lovato, I learned how resilient I can be in my creativity. I was so anxious that I would just kind of like slump, just kind of like into like bad patterns, into bad habits during the pancetta. But then I realized, oh, now that I am working from home, I do have like weird little breaks in the day that I didn't normally have. I don't have to be like a consummate professional constantly, and so I have like time to like rhinestone something while I'm eating lunch because I don't have to like haul fabric, glue, and rhinestones to my workplace. And I realize that I have now more opportunities during the day to kind of escape into my head, escape into my creativity, and nevertheless, she persisted. The creative strengths of Miz Diagnosis persisted. So yeah.
And then during the Pandanorama, what do you hope that we've all learned as a collective that we can keep with us going forward?
Yeah, as a collective, I think we've learned. So I'm gonna break this up into like two bits. One is like general human population. One is like queer fam.
Okay.
So general population, I think we realized how important people are to one another and how important it is to kind of to really keep those close to you that you want to keep close, and then realize that maybe some of the people who are currently close to you are a little like too close, maybe a little toxic, and they gotta go. They cannot stay in this bubble. But then as a queer community, like as a queer fam, I've had a lot of conversations around accessibility, which I know kind of it's like it's not totally on topic, but I feel as though I'm having so many people like coming to digital shows who are doing digital events who never would have been able to have a queer experience because of a lack of accessibility, specifically like in gay bars or specifically with loud noises, sights, sounds, smells. And that's something that I found kind of like really magical. I will say this, I hate performing online. I hate it. It is my least favorite thing. Like I love to perform, but not in this like digital realm, because I'm not doing what I do best, which is entertain the masses. But I love the accessibility piece and getting to meet people who I know I would not have been able to meet beforehand. And yeah, so I think that's another conversation on top of like mental health and wellness is accessibility, which we haven't really had a lot of conversations about in the queer community because we have a lot to talk about always, and we know the gays, we love to talk.
Oh, my goodness, just put us in a room.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially on Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah, Clubhouse, sometimes it's just you're sitting there and you're like, oh geez, this is gonna go on for a couple hours. You make one side comment about like Liza Minnelli,
Oh my
or
God.
about some topic regarding art pop, and people are off to the races.
And then you go make
like,
dinner. They're still talking.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go make my food and I'll be back.
Maybe a little dessert, pop some popcorn, go pay my taxes.
Give yourself a facial. I mean, I've done all these things while I'm on Clubhouse listening to people.
Which is great. Yeah, a little exfoliation never hurt nobody.
What's one thing that you absolutely cannot live without?
One thing I cannot live without? Ooh, that's a wonderful question. I would have to say, this is gonna sound real stupid, but water?
Okay.
I like my water bottle. I don't know why that's the very first thing.
It's important. It's very important. People have been telling me the water is the thing, so I drink a lot.
Yeah. Apparently it's like one of the key things that you need for life. Yeah. But I have like a 1.5 liter water bottle because of how much I love to drink water, and I feel like it's so necessary for skin, because if you stay hydrated, your skin's going to be great, and drag is not good on your skin at all. And I learned from a dermatologist in college that if you are staying properly hydrated all the time, you'll never have a hangover. And to this day, I've yet to have a hangover because of her. And thanks to my 1.5 liter water bottle.
So drink a lot of water and you could be a boozer. That's that's basically the lesson.
Yeah, you'd be good to go.
What is one thing that you wish we could all live without?
I wish we could live without hatred. I think we have a world where people have like a blind hatred for certain people and certain things without ever giving that person the opportunity or that thing the opportunity to teach you something. Or yeah, there's so much discussion around like ignorance and things of that topic, when I feel as though ignorance is an issue, yes, but also there's some people who are just hateful. I'm like, why are you hateful? Like, what's what's the point of this? Why? You don't even know me. Like, if you hate me after getting to know me, fine, that's fair, yeah. Good. But like, until that point, just be like a decent fucking human being. Can I swear on this?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, okay. Fuck.
Totally.
Cool. Yeah, just like blind hatred.
That's a good one too. Since we're so social media driven these days, and Instagram and all these things, can you describe yourself using 3 hashtags?
Ooh, yes. Hashtag. We'll do that one. Speaks to me on many levels. Hashtag gay. Wait, no, not hashtag gay. Hashtag homosexual. We'll say that.
Okay.
And then hashtag kindness. I think that, yeah. Yeah, or just like hashtag kind, depending on how many syllables you want.
Depending on how much room they give you.
Yes. Yeah. Those are great hashtags.
Wonderful. So do you want to leave everybody with one final thought, or maybe give them some homework to do? I mean, you have the floor, so you can do whatever you want.
Oh, the floor. I'm gonna mop it, and then yeah, we'll probably probably sweep it before mopping, because nobody likes like moldy debris. It's gross. It just kind of like gets in the hardwood. Yes. If I had like one last piece of advice for people, a little homework to do, I would say, for your mental health and for your mental wellness, and something that you can do right now in this moment to maintain yourself, it is to stop watering dead plants.
Wow.
Yes. So that is take that as literally or metaphorically as you want. I'm a big believer that in order to stay mentally well, you have to keep like your battery in check. And if I'm exacerbating my battery, watering a dead plant or two, knowing that nothing's ever going to come from it, I can't use that battery and that energy towards things that are more beneficial to myself or beneficial to other people. So yeah, and I know it's not like an easy thing. That's not easy homework.
Oh my God, that's so hard for some people. Like boundaries are so difficult for people.
Yeah, it took me a really long time to stop watering that poinsettia that died back in February, but
oh my God, it's crazy. And every mental health conversation you have with people tends to go back to this boundaries thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, entirely. It's self-preservation. That's a huge piece of mental health and mental wellness conversations, is again keeping your battery full, keeping it charged, without feeling like you're expending yourself or lowering your standards of life, lowering your standards of people, which are dead plants. If you didn't catch the metaphor by now.
Yes, we're really not talking about ficuses. We're talking about
I love it.
Ficai, whatever they are.
I don't know. No clue. Grammar and the language. But yeah, it's a really, once you're able to stop doing that, and for me it's taken years and years, probably the better half of a decade to, like, I knew it from a young age. I'm like, oh, some of these people are not going to be giving me anything back. And so I realized I want to put your energy towards things that make you happy. Put your energy towards things that like fill your bucket. And so if your bucket is full, then it can help fill another person's bucket, and you'll just be spilling water everywhere, which is good. And then drink water.
And then you can drink the alcohol.
Yeah, and then you can drink the alcohol. If alcohol is your judge, drink your water first, and you'll be great. Yeah.
I do want to thank you so much for coming by and taking some time, getting all dressed up for me, because that was so cool. And I'm sure I'm going to speak to you over and over and over again on Clubhouse. So we will see.
I'm never not on that now.
Right? We like live there now.
in my little home of Clubhouse, just
a little circle.
Yeah, a little circle. It's not like quite a square. It's not quite a circle. It's.
But it pulsates when you speak. So I think like when we walk and talk now, our faces should pulsate or something. Something should happen.
That'd be lovely. I'd love a pulsating head, or like even like a little headband, just get to wear your little light up headband. But yeah.
That's it. So people know when you're speaking. But thank you. I want to encourage everybody to follow Miz Diagnosis on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Clubhouse, because if you're on Clubhouse, then you need to hear what is being spoken out of this lovely mouth all the time, because it's wonderful. And
thank you so much.
Thank you everybody for listening, and I will hear from you'll hear me again soon, and we'll have Miz Diagnosis on as often as she would like to come. Thank you so much. Bye everybody.
Bye.